that you're here we are. I got it now.
We're going to go ahead and move this forward. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Connecting Communities with Brian J. And I've got a very extraordinary, interesting guest today. Morry, I'm not even going to try to spell your last name or sound your last name. Z-ich. There we go. Morry, how are you?
I'm terrific. Thanks for asking, Brian.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Zelcovitch.
That's
and
easy
believe it
now.
or not, it's spelt phonetically so that people in North America can pronounce it. So
What's
I guess
the nationality of that name?
It originates from Poland.
Okay, so you're Polish, obviously.
Well, I'm Canadian, actually. I was born in Canada, but my father was born in Poland.
Can you say about?
About.
Oh, there it is.
A boot is actually that's
funny.
The provinces, the maritime province. We don't really say that in the rest of Canada, but I can if it'll make you happy.
Well, before we dive in here, I want to make sure we give a special shout out to our sponsors. Right there they are. We have Health Pure and Simple. We also have Apollo and Community Pay It Forward. We also have Permanently Scarred, which is one of our new sponsors. Permanently Scarred is a tattoo location here in Toledo, Ohio, or there in Toledo, Ohio, I should say. So let's dive right into this. So one of the things that was super interesting to me was your mission in life. Morry and I met through an organization, HMP, Happy Neighborhood Project. Whoop, whoop. I think it's a phenomenal piece. It changed my business. Did it change your business at all, Morry?
Interestingly enough, it has, but with networking, people need to realize it takes time. It's like you don't, if you're a farmer and you plant a seed in your field, you don't get mad and burn it if there's no tree there tomorrow.
Well, I do.
Relationship.
No, all kidding aside, 100% accurate. But we met in HMP, totally changed my business. As you just said, it's changed yours. And one of the first things I remember you saying was your mission in life is actually to help others, and correct me if I don't paraphrase this correctly, to help others improve their quality of their lives without the use of dangerous or habit-forming drugs. And you have a story behind this. Do you care to share?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you the abridged version because we don't have 7 hours for this particular interview. Basically, I spent the first 40 years of my life wanting to be dead. I would wake up every morning, I would cross my fingers, I would literally look out the window and hope I would see mushroom clouds. If I saw mushroom clouds, it would mean I didn't have to live through another day. I had an affirmation statement that I still think is very powerful, but it's also quite sick. Life is a disease for which there is no cure but death. And that's something that I would repeat over and over and over and over again all day long. So affirmations do work when you repeat them, and they don't necessarily have to be positive to work either. But I tried to kill myself a bunch of times as well. But as you can see, I'm still here. And the truth of the matter is, if you want to die, it's pretty easy to end your life. So I guess I didn't really want to die. When I realized that I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live. And that's what started me looking.
Say that again. That's a powerful statement right there.
Thank you. When I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live.
Let's talk about that. I hate to pause you.
Sure.
Sorry, it's you ever, whoo, that's an emotional statement, ladies and gentlemen. I am still soaking that in. I relate to your story. I had a situation in my life that I didn't go on as long as yours, so I couldn't imagine living it 40 years. But I that's so truthful. It's so truthful. It's a mindset, right? It's a mindset. Sorry, go ahead, please continue.
Well, basically, I decided, I had to figure out where my problem was if I'm going to figure out how to live. I tried everything under the sun that I could find, which obviously isn't everything under the sun, but everything I could find. And nothing seemed to work for me. So I thought maybe if I were to understand my problem, that might help. So where's my problem? Well, obviously it was here, my thoughts. What is there? I assumed I had a brain. Although I still have actually, I do have medical evidence that I have a brain now, but back then I didn't have medical evidence that I had a brain. So I started studying the brain. I studied psychology, neurophysiology, neurochemistry, quantum physics. Believe it or not, perception of what reality is had a lot to do with my issue. So I started picking different areas of study, and I ended up realizing that it was all down to neurochemistry. It turns out when you think a thought, it creates brainwave activity. Brainwave activity creates chemistry, and chemistry creates your ability to experience anything, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're excited or bored, anything in between. You don't actually experience it unless your brain creates chemistry that allows you to experience it. And when I realized that, I started trying the standard things to change my brain chemistry, which, you know, like medical science would say, take some pills. So I took drugs, I smoked a ton of pot, I drank alcohol, I became addicted to all these things. I became addicted to sex and anything I could to try to change my chemistry. Obviously, all of that just made my life worse. And I then moved on to self-help. Well, I was a little too gone, I think, for self-help to be much help for me. So that really didn't work either. And then as I'm researching, because I became a researcher, I became a scientist quite literally over the years, looking for ways out of my abyss, I ended up seeing that there was something called brainwave entrainment. Now, I wish I invented it, and I wish I could say I invented it, but I didn't. I tried it though, because all the research that I was doing said it should make a big difference in my brain chemistry, and I was sure it was my chemistry that was causing my problem. I tried it, and I tried many different varieties and many different brands, and none of them worked. I got even more depressed. But then suddenly it struck me, nothing's changed about this technology since it was discovered, like 20, 30 years, as far as I could tell at that time. And nothing changed. And it seems to me that everything changes. So that's nature. We grow older, our cells change, our appearance changes. I mean, I looked at a picture of myself when I was 16. I don't even look like I could be my own child. You know, I don't resemble myself at all.
Yeah.
So when I realized that, I started investigating more, and I thought, maybe I'm supposed to evolve this thing. Maybe I'm supposed to change it. So that's given birth to now 23 products, all of which have unique features that are not available anywhere else because I invented them. I'm working on 45 new techniques that are also brand new, never been done before. And since I've been using my own techniques, now when I tell this story, I feel like I'm lying. Honestly, I know it's true, but I feel so detached from that person that I feel like I'm making it up, but I know I'm not. I see it in my mind's eye, like I'm watching a movie, but that's how different I am as a person. And obviously all of this happened for a reason. So now I'm grateful for all the depression. By the way, I had thousands of voices in my head all the time. I had literally hundreds and hundreds of injuries, broken bones, dislocations, ripped and shredded tendons, concussions, you know, anything and everything. Self-inflicted. I'm sure everything was probably self-inflicted, you know, just trying to hurt myself, because I remember thinking there was a time when I was sure I was Hitler reanimated, you know, because how else could I have such a crappy life? I felt so depressed that, you know, anyone who's felt depressed for 5 minutes knows what depression feels like. And time just crawls. So I feel like I'm almost 1,000 years old now. Even though time is moving at a normal rate for me at this point in my life, all those 40 years of severe depression, I literally feel like I've been alive for 1,000 years.
It's tiring.
Listen,
we've all had those moments, some longer than others. But they definitely are on the tiring side, even exhausting. Every minute. Absolutely. Well, I think one of your key points is, you know, the definition of insanity, right? It's doing the same thing and expecting different results. I think we all can call ourselves insane at one point in time, right? Whether it's you know, after a demise of a relationship, or to regret on a job, you know, after 4 jobs and you're still trying to figure out what the issue is at some point in time. It's got to be 40. Yeah. You know, or 40. I think I'm at, doesn't matter. My point is it's again doing this I can't even speak. Look at me today. It's doing the same thing and expecting different results. If
Yes.
you eat ice cream the same way, right, there's a chance it's going to flip over, right? You know,
Yeah.
so you got to change it up. Is it, you know, the container? Is it whatever it is? So I think that's part of that growing too. Did you find that you tried everything and anything as far as you specifically when you're doing this research? Like, for example, did you find, oh, this is what they do, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks, and then go back and find something different and follow up with that for 2 weeks? Or did you just go rogue and say, this is what I'm doing?
I tried everything and anything I could find, like various forms of hypnosis, even entrainment, EFT, different tapping techniques, anything and everything I could find because I was desperate. You know, I realized that I wanted to live in the end, even though I felt like I didn't want to live.
Yeah.
You know, every time I woke up in the morning, I would kind of go, damn.
And how do you wake up? How did you wake up this morning?
I woke up this morning with a smile on my face.
Amazing. See,
Don't think
I
those
only know you
thoughts,
with a
but I did
smile.
wake up with a smile on my face.
Yeah,
I
I
wake up
only know
every
you with a
morning.
smile, so I don't know the previous version of Morry. I'm looking forward to the next year's version, right? Because I think we're always evolving and growing.
Yes.
Are you finding yourself branching out in different types of research now, outside of the depression box, like
Yes.
a confidence box or a weight loss box or whatever that looks like?
Or how about an everything box? Everything that my mind, you see, I believe that we have thoughts because of a reason. I don't think we just have random thoughts that enter our head. I think we have a thought because we believe it's possible and we know there's something we can do about it. So every time I have a thought, I write it down and it goes into my list. That's why I have 45 things that I'm working on right now, because they're all concepts that, you know, either other people haven't thought of doing or because they've been formally trained. Remember, I'm self-trained. Because they've been formally trained, they know, quote unquote, what's, you know, legitimate, what's possible and what's impossible. I don't have any restrictions on my mind. So I don't, if I have a thought, it's understandable and it's believable and it's supposed to be. I developed a technology just recently that I've been working on for years that allows me to convert. You see, okay, so maybe a little background here. Brainwave entrainment in an audio version is basically a series of tones. So it's a tone in a space, like bop, 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 that kind of thing. Well, I've come up with a way to convert words into tones.
Hmm.
So I did my first recording using this technique that I developed, and I can fit 40, the word love, because I've converted love into a tone, 40 of them into a second. So when you're being entrained, which is you hear the ba 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 ba, and after a number of minutes, the human brain will start following your neurons, which are your brain cells, will start pulsing electric impulses in resonance to the frequency that I'm presenting. That
Okay.
creates interesting
No,
stuff.
I can totally appreciate that. It's like our ringtones on our phones.
Yeah.
At one point in my life, I had a ringtone that was designated for one particular individual. And when I heard that ringtone, it literally would make my stomach drop because I just didn't want to talk to them or hear them, right? And I had this ringtone with this relationship for 5+ years. So it's funny because once that went away, I was like, I really like the ringtone, but I need to flip that. So then I ended up giving that ringtone to another individual to flip that negativity into an excitement that they're calling, an excitement or an anticipation. So I can understand where that would come from, where those tones or those words would trigger the brain to make them feel or think things. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a similar but different. It's actually more on a physiological level because it actually creates a harmony between your brain cells behavior and the tones themselves. What you're talking about is more a relativity factor, where
Okay.
you have made a conscious emotional connection to a tone and a person.
Well, listen, if
So they're
anyone
actually
wants
different,
to
but they're
have a
similar.
smarter friend than them, reach out to this guy. Right.
Yeah.
So, Morry, what do you do with this? How do you are you reaching individual people? Are you looking at exposing this or expanding this to a bigger group? Like, what does that look like?
So I have as I alluded to, I have multiple types of products, and they range from things like general self-help to confidence, self-esteem, even health in some fashion. Dr. Dale Bredesen, who wrote the best-selling book on the New York Times list, The End of Alzheimer's, uses my system, Revitamind and Revitamind Ultra, to help people with depression, anxiety, stress, sleep, and even the Ultra version has recordings in it that are designed to help with breaking down the amyloid protein, which is kind of like a gunk that gets between the neurons and interrupts the cell transmission of information, hence the memory issues that we tend to get with Alzheimer's. So I have doctors and clinicians using that particular system to help their clients. The Brazilian military uses another one of my systems to help train their military police, the cadets, to help them have better relationships with the public and to be able to study and work at the same time. It's quite an intense procedure there, especially because the military and the public don't have that great a relationship to begin with. So they're kind of using it to try to help that. Sports people, it can be used for sports or business or pretty much anything in the field of in the field of optimization, peak performance. Your brain is the central processing unit of your mind, of your life, literally. If it doesn't pass through your brain, you don't experience it. You can literally be slapped in the face and not notice it if your brain doesn't produce the chemistry that acknowledges that. So yeah, it's really intriguing and interesting. And I know very little. Understand that as a scientist and doing what I do to help people to help themselves, because that's really what I'm doing, is I don't believe in truth or fact. I believe in current understanding, because in my own history and in the history of humankind, excuse me, I've noticed that what has happened is everything we thought was truth 100 years ago is no longer thought of as truth or fact, because now we have more information. And if you keep going back 100 years through time, you'll find that pretty much everything we thought was fact back then, we now think of as different truth. But the problem with me and truth or fact is when I think of something as a truth or a fact, I stop thinking about it because it's the truth and it's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me because that closes my mind. My mind stays open when I think of it as a current understanding, though. So that's how I look at it. I mean, look, there was a time when they used to drill holes in people's heads to let the evil spirits out. Right. There was a time when they thought that a woman had a period because of original sin, because she ate the apple in the garden. And this was a punishment. In reality, it's a beautiful process that allows our race to continue.
All right things, all correct things. Well, listen, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, but I have a couple quick questions for you. Sure. Are you ready? Are you sitting down?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Serious stuff, okay? Horror films or sci-fi films?
Ooh, how about half and half?
One.
I love them both. Although
okay.
I prefer. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd take sci-fi because of the science.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Neither. They're both disgusting.
Good for you. Spicy or sweet?
Again, I would go more neutral. I'm not a sweet or a spicy guy.
Okay. Okay. Here it is. Burgers or brats?
Neither.
Morry, no! You know, Morry!
Okay. I'll take burger as long as it's organic.
Okay. I already know the answer to this one. Books or movies?
Books.
Well, yeah, duh. Fall or winter?
Winter.
Okay. Here is really the deciding factor of how our relationship is going to continue. Okay. I'm sorry. Android or Apple product?
Android.
We can continue talking.
Yeah, so Android is more open to individual use and it allows more variety. That's the only. Apple makes great products. I'm not insulting Apple at all. It's just that they're an ecosystem that doesn't allow you to do anything. Android allows you to
concur with that. Now, Morry, if we were reaching out to you or had some questions or wanted to touch base with you, what's the best way to do that?
Well, you can contact me at the Morry Method, TheMorrymethod @gmail.com, or you can just do a search for Brainwave Entrainment Engineer or Morry Zelcovitch on Google, and you'll get a million different ways to contact me.
Right. You'll also be able to click the links right above. So we'll have those in the descriptions as well. Morry, anything you want to leave us with, or any wisdom that we can continue this Wednesday?
I don't know if this is wisdom, but this is my current understanding would say to everyone, happiness is a choice, so choose to be happy.
Happiness is a choice, so choose to be happy. What amazing, great words. Well, listen, Morry, you've been an amazing guest. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I'm also appreciative of the knowledge that you shared with us. So make sure you reach out to Morry if you have any other questions or want to dive deep a little bit. He loves having some one-on-one meetings to really be able to get down to the nitty-gritty and talk shop. So be safe, take care. We'll see you soon.